Welcome to a reading of your Akashic Records. How's everybody doing this Friday, March 10th? It's 2 o'clock here in New York. I just made myself a little chocolate protein drink because I needed something and I wanted something cold. They actually make this protein powder now in chocolate and peanut butter. That's going to be the next purchase. Who doesn't love chocolate and peanut butter?
I do.
I remember when they came out with those in the almost in the 70s. They came out with Reese's peanut butter cups, and we had bars of Hershey's chocolate, and we had no, we had boxes of Hershey's chocolate candy bars, and we had jars of peanut butter, and we were trying to do our own, but it just didn't taste the same. But I have been a long time fan of everything that has to do with chocolate and peanut butter. Got to be somewhere in my Akashic Records. So welcome, everyone. Let's see. Hi, Patricia.
Hi.
Hi, Carrie Ann. Hey, Audra.
Yeah. Hello.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. So the Akashic Records have held my interest for a very, very long time. When I was 11 years old, my mom gave my sister and I a copy of a book to read that was called The Sleeping Prophet, and it chronicled the life of Edgar Cayce, who was the most renowned medium and psychic. He would go into a trance and he would bring information back from people's Akashic Records. And the Akashic Records, I would think that the best way to describe the Akashic Records is to say that they're like the iCloud of your soul, of every thought, of every word, of every action you've ever taken, every emotion. You know, they say that the mind records like 50,000 pieces of input at every moment. Well, the Akashic Record is a recording of where all that is. And I just became enthralled with it. And they mentioned past lives, and I was like, oh my God. But in my mind, the only place you could go to get this done was India. So it was a fascination, and I certainly delved into finding out how to read my own past lives, and then got trained to read the past lives of others. And in 2017, on Facebook, of all things, one of my girlfriends named Tiffany posted, and she said, hey, I just got trained to read the Akashic Records. Can I practice on people? And I shot my head up in the air, and I was like, pick me. And I reached out to her. I texted her immediately, and I'm like, oh my God, how did you get trained to read the records? And she said she came across someone who knew someone who knew someone who knew someone who had been trained by Linda Howe, who had written the quintessential book on how to read the Akashic Records, entitled How to Read the Akashic Records. This is an orange book. And so Tiffany read my records. I was blown away. I started referring people to her. And then she just was able to confirm and validate things. You know, it was mind blowing. Past lives that I had seen, graves, there's nothing like seeing your own grave from a past life. It's nothing like walking into a house where you lived from a past life and, the memories start coming back, or walking into a city and all that kind of stuff. It's really fascinating to me. So I started following Linda Howe on Facebook, and then I saw in 2018 she was going to do a 3-month training. It was going to be for advanced Akashic Records practitioners. It was going to be really intense. It was going to be very expensive. It was going to be on this platform called Learn It Live, which is very much like what Zoom is. One person comes on, everybody's little squares, little videos. You could chat, you could talk to each other. It was before the pandemic, so and what Spirit showed me was that someday I was going to be doing something like this, and I thought, oh, how fascinating. Obviously, that's what Zoom has turned into. I think the biggest class I ever had, there were 500 people that I led. That was really fun. So anyway, the Akashic Records, the very, very first time, we were taught a prayer, we opened the records. The very first time I ever opened the records, these beings started jumping up and down, and they were screaming, halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti. Like they were really, really excited about something. And I was terrified. And I closed the records right away. And I was like, oh my God, what was that? So I went to my teacher, Linda Howe, and I said, what just happened? And she said, they were just really excited to see you. Go back in, ask them to calm down, ask them to slow down. So I did that. And they explained to me that the halls of Amenti, because I Googled halls of Amenti, it was mentioned in the Emerald Tablets written by Thoth the Atlantean, who had gone from Atlantis to Egypt and had helped with the building of the pyramids. And anyway, the halls of Amenti is where the Akashic Records were kept in Egypt. And then, in Atlantis, and all that got transferred over to Egypt. So, this huge, vast library of knowledge and information. And it all felt like a memory of something to me. So I went back in, and they said, we're very excited to see you. You're one of the guardians of the records. And I said, what does that mean? And they said, you're here to train others in what the Akashic records are and to teach others how to read and open and close the Akashic records. I was like, oh, okay. You hear that stuff and you're like, whatever. But since then, I have trained probably over 1,000 people by now in how to read the records. Met a few other guardians along the way, and it is the storehouse of all of the choices and the decisions and the soul contracts that your soul has ever made for all of your incarnations. So you meet somebody and you really like them. You meet somebody and you really don't like them. You meet somebody and you feel like you can totally relate to them. You meet somebody and you're like, I want nothing to do with them. All of those triggers, all of those reasons exist in the Akashic records, and you can have access to them. When you read the records, the beings that help you within the records, they're called the masters, the teachers, and the loved ones. And the masters they're kind of like the oversoul. So you will have several incarnations happening simultaneously. Life does not exist in a past, present, future format. It actually, it's not particle in that way. It's more like it's done as, think of a slinking. It's more like a spiral, like what you see in the DNA strands. So when I got to the Akashic records, it literally felt like home. It is an incredibly expansive energy. There's a woman that I trained to read the records, and she's a really profound psychic and a medium. And when she read the records, I was training her. There's a portion for the very first time for about 15 minutes where I have everybody go to the records and read for themselves. They say the opening prayer, they go in. And she sat there with tears streaming down her face. And I'm thinking, this is either a really good thing or a really bad thing. So when we came out, I said to her, how was that? And she said, Lynn, short of the birth of my son and the birth of my daughter, that has to have been the most profound, experience I've ever had in my life. There's so much love. So the masters help you decide in each lifetime what exactly you're going to be dealing with. You're given, primary, secondary, and tertiary lessons for you to focus on. The teachers are the ones that are assigned to you to help you with each of those lifetimes. They are the ones that, if you're supposed to work on, I don't know, say you're given alcoholism for a lifetime because you want to master addiction. They're the ones that are going to help you with that. They're going to put you in situations that would trigger your alcoholism and then put you in situations to be able to heal that as well. And then when you've, recovered from that, then you're given the next. I say that soul lessons are kind of like Pez in a Pez dispenser. Remember those old Pez dispensers? You pull the little head back and the candy would pop out. It's very much like that. Then the loved ones. So these are beings that have been part of your soul group. We travel in like a soul pod or a soul group through all these lifetimes. And, this could be your grandmother who died before you were born, and she's kind of been your guide for your lifetimes. This could be a group of angels. This could be aliens. There's all kinds of beings that are, here with you, for you, along this journey of incarnation. And then when you go through and you learn how to read the records, some people read the records by seeing what's in the records, using their clairvoyance. Some people hear what's in the records, using clairaudience. Some people can feel in the records, using their clairsentience. And some people just know information that comes from the records using their clairconsciousness. And there's a training that I do called Clearing the Clairs, in which it helps people to open those abilities up. They're natural God-given abilities, but we shut them down many, many lifetimes, many cycles of incarnations. So we help people to open them up. And then there's people who channel in the records. And I'm an oracle. My soul's orientation is that of an oracle. And so when I open the records, I go deeply into a trance. I am an unconscious channel. So what you'll see today is I'll open someone's records, and then I'll bring forth one of their masters, teachers, or loved ones, or whoever it is that wants to come forth. When it's one of the loved ones, it's not like, your grandpa died and your grandpa may be on the other side, like cheering you on, but these are beings that have been with you through multiple incarnations that are helping guide your soul. Let's see. Any questions?
I have a quick one. Do I need to be a psychic right now to attend this class that I'm here with you guys?
No, of course not.
Okay, I didn't know because I'm not. And I was hoping just to get some information about anything that you're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've already given you a mouthful. You don't have to be a psychic. But Patricia, here's the really, really good news. You absolutely are, because everybody is.
I know I have intuition.
Yeah.
But I can't do what you do.
Well, I've been doing this for 33 years. And listen, I have no humility, so I'll tell you there aren't many people who can do what I do.
Okay. Okay.
Unless they've, done it longer as intensely as I have. There are people that come in and their gifts are wide open. This is a tool that I've worked on. I've worked on opening up my clairvoyance. I've worked on healing the places where I had closed these gifts and abilities down. And that's the same thing that's happened for you, my love. What you've done is, there was a lifetime where you had a gift. You could see things that were going to happen, and people didn't like what it was you saw. So they gouged your eyes out. And then you have no ability to use that sense anymore because there was such pain and trauma associated with it. You closed it down. But like the intuition that you have, that's a sense of claircognizance where you know things, you anticipate things, you understand things about people. You have a very good sense of who people are that are trustworthy, and the ones to kind of stay away from. And all of that are, God-given gifts that you have. You can train them to become more acute. I have two of my students that are here now. And Laura Lee, do you want to speak to that, to what it's been like to open those abilities for you?
Yes, it's been like life-changing is not even a strong enough word. I was completely shut down when I got into Lynn's world, and I just went all in. I just went all in, and since then everything has been booming up. Like my clairs have been opening like crazy, and I just lived some connections with people that I didn't even know were possible. And I always had kind of a gut feeling about people. When I met someone, I would be like, oh yeah, I love that person, or no, I don't trust that person, or things like that. And I linked that intuition in my human brain to fear. And since I've been in that world with Lynn, I now know that that was a part of my clair abilities showing up the best they could, because I had shut them down so far. And I've learned through this work that I've had many lifetimes where I was using those abilities to help people, and I was betrayed into being burned at the stake, being shackled in a dungeon for years and years and years, and being killed for what I saw, being killed for what I knew. And that's what shut me down. And feeling all of that and getting free of all the fears and everything that was linked to that got me to open up right now. And right now I can read my own records better and better every day. And it's just amazing.
It's beautiful. Really, really beautiful. They say that there's either love or there's fear, and fear is just a place where we took the love away. And the reason that we took it away was because there was energy. Einstein's theory of relativity really explains the manifestation of everything. E, energy, equals mass times the constant. That's, what the constant is the speed of light squared or doubled. So when you take any object and you can travel it at the speed of light squared, it instantly converts back to pure white light energy. And now emotion is energy in motion. So when an emotion comes towards you so quickly, probably not gonna like this question. Oh, good, we haven't already done it. But I know you don't work with people under the influence of marijuana going into the books, but is it possible for you to go in for someone who's struggling with addiction, or is that not a thing? It's a really good question, Tanya. Let me be with that for a moment, madam. When I've trained my students, I say, no drugs or alcohol for 24 hours private. But when you've got someone who is working with an addiction, understand that what an addiction is a place where we have taken love out, a place where we have taken God out, a place where we have removed light, and we're trying to fill that void. And the void can only be filled by light, by love, by God. It's like a God-sized hole that we have. So I don't like to work with people that are under substance. I won't do a session with someone if they have drugs or alcohol for 24 hours, because you have so severely dimmed your senses, so severely dimmed your psychic abilities, and dimmed your ability and your capacity to feel. It is really the feeling of things that is going to allow the healing of it. When I had uncovered my own hidden memories of childhood abuse that I had suffered, my psychic abilities flew wide open. So when someone is in a position where they're having to use substance, to mitigate anxieties, to mitigate fears, there's got to be some work that has to be done around that before I can work with them. And that's the same advice that I give to my clients. If I know that I'm going to be channeling, if I know that I'm going to be working, if I know that I'm going to be doing any type of readings, I certainly won't partake in anything. And I need that for my clients because you guys have to be able to feel what it is that's coming up. It is in the feeling of it that you will experience the healing of it. And then when that clears, there's a wide open field. There are things that we have hidden from ourselves. There were things I hid from myself from when I was very young. And, part of it I remembered when I was in my 30s, another part I remembered when I was almost 60. And when you allow yourself to go in, I was working with a student the other day in class. It was really incredible. We did an exercise in which you ask, is there someone that really bothers you or, triggers you? And she said, yeah, Kevin Bacon. And I said, thank you. And I said, does he remind you of anyone? And she sat with it for a moment. And then she literally did this. She goes, like her eyes got wide, her hand went to her mouth. You ever see those little videos of like a girl getting proposed to, and the first thing she does is like her mouth goes wide and then she covers her mouth. Anyway, her mouth went wide, she covered her mouth. And then she had a memory of playing hide and go seek when she was about 7 years old. And a kid in the neighborhood, one of their cousins had come behind her, put his hand over her mouth, and then began sexually molesting her. And when she pulled that up, we went through kind of the trauma of all of that. Then Kevin Bacon just became Kevin Bacon. The universe will literally give you things and give you people and give you circumstances to bring up the thing that is traumatic for you for healing. Does that make sense? So, Tanya, it's not about not liking the question, my love. Listen, I've got people in my family that handle their anxiety through screaming, one who does it through alcohol, one who does it through food, one who does it through marijuana. Like, I give everybody a break, because we all have our ways in which we mitigate whatever the trauma is that we're walking around with. So there are definitely ways, to get around it. The core class that I teach is called Quantum Healing. And in it, you learn techniques and abilities to start to manage and start to reveal all of the things that we've kind of like hidden from ourselves. And then if people want, they can continue with advanced training to learn to practice this, on themselves and others. I have people that have become healers, people that have become teachers, people from all different walks of life. So if, that's anything that you're interested in, you can go to my website and check out those things. But what you're dealing with anytime you've got an addiction is a place where people have not allowed themselves to feel energy. And just, breathing is a huge, huge part of this. I channel Jesus. I channel a lot of beings, but Jesus is one of the beings that I channel. And one of the things he says all the time is to breathe. The breath, the mind controls the body, but the breath controls the mind. And when you can allow your breathing to become quiet, when you can allow yourself to really slip into the silence, a lot can be shown to you. And there's, breathing technique that I do when I take people into the records. Anyway, does that answer your question, Tanya? Have the dialogue. Thanks, Laura Lee, for the link. Okay, so I'm going to ask Laura Lee to use her beautiful God-given psychic abilities and to pick the person that Spirit has chosen to have me do a reading for them today. And here, whoever it is that's chosen, if you'd like to understand that we're online, we're on Facebook. Oh, my love, there's nothing to apologize for. It's a beautiful question. This is being simulcast live. This is going to go up on my YouTube channel. So if you're willing to have a very public display of whatever's going to come up in your Akashic records, if you're feeling that brave today, please drop a yes inside of the chat group. And then Laura Lee is going to go within, take a breath, and see who it is that's being chosen today. I will do a reading. I want you to come up with a question or two that you would want to ask of the records. And you can ask, why do I fear this? Why do I love that? Why do I hate this person? Why am I in love with this other person? Feel like I can't let go? Why do I always seem to date the same person or have the same job? Or why do I, for me, it was like, why am I so afraid of my father? And then that got explained and that blew my mind. People have all kinds of different abilities when they read the records. And when you get trained to read the records, you come to find out where your gifts and abilities are with it. And if you've got a blockage in a certain area, we help you to open that up. Laura Lee?
Yes.
Who have you got for us, my love?
Carrie Ann, are you ready?
Okay. So for, let's see. So for Alexander,
Okay.
Patricia, I invite you both to come back another day. We're here every Friday, most Fridays. I think one of these Fridays coming up, my mother has invoked the right of birthdayhood, birthday week, birthday month, and we're going to be taking her out for her birthday, so we won't be here, but you'll always see within my Facebook group or on email or something like that when we're doing this, but we're here most Fridays.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Okay. All right, Carrie Ann, I just need you to unmute.
Can you hear me?
You can.
Okay, great.
Indeed. All right, so I need your full legal name.
It is Kerri, Kerri, Anne, Razza, Razza.
Okay, great. So there's a prayer that I say when I open the records. Part of it is said aloud and part of it is said silently. I'll go in, I'll say the prayer, and then I'll come back and I'll say your records are now open. So I want you to think of a question that you would like to ask of the records, something that you've always wanted to know. Why, for me, it was like, why do I love Paris and why do I hate Spain? Whatever the question is, and then we'll see how the records unfold for you today. Okay.
Okay.
Not yet.
So do I
Not-
say the question out loud?
No,
Okay.
no, not yet. You'll say it aloud once
Okay.
once your records are open. So I'm now going to go into a prayer to open your Akashic records. Okay.
Yes.
All right. We lost a few people. All right. Hopefully they'll come back another time. Tanya and Patricia bounced. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome to stay for this. It's pretty fascinating. Pretty fascinating. All right. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. Oh, Holy Spirit of God, help me to know Carrie Ann and the light of the Akashic records, to see Carrie Ann through the eyes of the Lords of the records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of Carrie Ann have for her. The records are now open. Greetings, Carrie Ann.
Hi.
It is indeed our delight to be with you, beloved one.
Thank you. Same here.
You have been invited by us to be in attendance. You have been invited by us to come forth. We thank you for heeding our invitation. Beloved, what queries, what questions do you bring before us?
I'd like to know why when I speak, particularly in anger, but why it hits other people so much harder than when someone else says conveys the same message.
Beloveds, you are not aware of the energy and the power and the force that you have. You consider yourself to be a gentle and a meek person, but this is hardly the case or the truth of you. And when you communicate with a vehemence, you communicate with authority. And this is something that you have hidden from yourself, but yet you have a very clear voice. And when these communications come through, they pack a wallop, shall we say. Beloved, you have had several incarnations as a regent, taking on both a king and a queen. You have ruled lands and nations, and you are used to things being done your way, being done a certain way, shall we say. And when they are not, it brings forth ire, it brings forth upset. And when you speak and when you communicate, it is sometimes off with their heads. You must learn to mitigate this power of the voice, beloved, and to use it so that it may be in service to the light rather than in service to your ego. There is a sense of a lack of patience that you have at times with others. Why aren't they doing what it is that I know that they could be doing, should be doing, I've told them to do? So you must begin to ask yourself, why is this an issue for me? Beloved, there was a time in your existence when you did not always do what was told of you. And then there have also been many, many times where you understood that you needed to stay within certain boundaries. And this is a battle that lives within you, shall we say. When you can forgive self, you will be able to grant that forgiveness to others. The words that you speak and they have much power to them. You have spent time in what would be considered palaces of France and of Italy, these lands as they are known, Dahlia, and you have much wisdom of how to rule that was innate to you. But you are very much like a king without a kingdom, or a queen without a queendom. Find something, beloved, that you love to do and turn it into an empire. Turn it into something that could be so grand and so vast, for you have that within you. And yet you have been, shall we say, playing small. You have been hiding in the light, so to speak. Learn to use your gift. Learn to use your ability to speak. And understand that there were 2 lifetimes in which you had lost your head, one with a guillotine and one with a sword. For the words that you spoke have always been spoken very boldly. You can learn to soften your tone, beloved one. And you can also still use the power of your voice. This has never been a question for you. Beloved one, we would recommend that you sing lullabies to yourself.
Oh,
Singing lullabies will help to calm the part of you that rages. Hum to yourself, beloved. Allow yourself to enjoy who you are, who you have manifested yourself to be. Does this answer your query?
perfectly.
We thank you for your attention, beloved one. And we would indeed recommend that you learn how to communicate with us directly.
Will do.
Blessings to you, precious and beloved being of light, love, and truth. This transmission is complete. Oh, whew. I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the lords of the Akashic records for their point of view. I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed, amen. The records are now closed, amen. The records are now closed, amen. Whew. Okay. How was
Thank
it?
you so much.
You're welcome. Did that answer your question?
It did answer my question, and I don't know why I'm like welling up with tears, but like they were so forthright about it, and I really appreciate that kind of. I mean, it was forthright without like hurting my feelings, I guess, because I know all these things about myself deep down inside, but to hear it from the outside, and get some guidance is really great.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, my love. You're very welcome. Very, very welcome. Carrie Ann, are you the same Carrie Ann that has been in touch with Alicia Moonian?
Yes. Yeah.
Good. It's good to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. I think that's it. I thank you all for being here. Please come back. Like I said, we're here most Fridays. This is one of my great delights. I love being able to do this. I love being able to provide the services I mentioned. You know, we teach people how to do this. I have students, we have teachers, we have mentors, we have lots of people that help in this endeavor because it's, you know, it's more than just reading the records. You can now go in and there's healing that can be done, you know, in the, as well. Oh, and here's Claire Jackson. Claire is one of the most profound students. She's now a teacher in these methodologies. She's incredible with reading people's Akashic records. Really, really gifted. So Claire, it's good to have you here. I love. Anyway, I thank you all so much for being here, Audrey and Claire and Laura Lee. I love to all of you. These three wonderful women work with me, so I'm very blessed to have them. Alexandra, I invite you to come back another time for another reading. And Carrie Ann, it was great to meet you, my love.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. I wish you all a beautiful Saturday and Shabbat Shalom. And we'll see you guys again soon. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.